Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of How to Fix. In this series, as always, we look at the operators in Rainbow Six Siege that need a little bit more help than the other operators at getting through the task of everyday operating. So today we're looking at Vicente Souza, also known as Capitão. He's a guy that I loved in Season 3, but he's been lacking ever since. Slowly but surely, he's been brought down to a level that's just not good enough. Let's find out how to fix him. So, Capitão is a 3-speed 1-armor operator on the attacking side. He is a member of the BOP CTU alongside Caveira, who was added in Season 3, the Skull Rain update. He has access to two primary weapons, the Para 308 assault rifle, which you're seeing in this gameplay here, which is my recommended primary weapon for Capitão, and the M249 SAW light machine gun, which is, like most other light machine guns in this game, not particularly rewarding for the downside of the inaccuracy that it has. Capitão's unique gadget is the TAC Mark 0 tactical crossbow. It has two asphyxiating bolts and two miniature smoke pellets which can be launched from the crossbow that fly in a straight arc towards the target and detonate upon any impact with any surface along the way, including operators. Now, contrary to popular belief, there is no instant lethal with the crossbow. It doesn't matter if you hit them directly on target, you will not kill them with this gadget. The only way to kill them with the asphyxiating bolts is to have them receive enough damage over time while standing in the radius of the bolt. So Capitão is, or was at least, a very viable operator in the first few seasons that he was involved, particularly Season 3 and Season 4. He was very fun, and he was my favourite 3-speed operator, I have to say. I would turn to him more often than others, and I enjoyed playing as him quite a lot. He had a gun that packed a huge amount of punch, considering the downsides that other rifles of that style had, and it was also one that had pretty good accuracy considering how much damage it actually dealt. Unfortunately, as with a lot of operators that we'll see on this list, Capitão received a number of small nerfs that eventually stacked up and made him just not viable anymore, essentially. His assault rifle is now even worse than Thermite's assault rifle, which is particularly bad on the attacking side, especially for someone as fast as Capitão is, who relies highly upon his primary weapon to do the job on the way in. His gadget is also quite situational. Now, in this clip, later on, you'll see a perfect example of when it can be incredibly useful, where I use it to kill an Echo who's dug in behind cover. But ultimately, the utility of his gadget is just not there. The smoke is offered as a pretty good alternative to the damage-dealing asphyxiating bolt, and is always available. It's not something you have to choose before the round starts. But unfortunately, it just doesn't have that much of an impact, as with smoke as itself in a gadget form is just not a particularly good thing. And so having it in this crossbow form doesn't make it that much better. The grenades are about the same, they have a slightly wider radius and they will cover more places, but that doesn't make it particularly good in the first place. It can be used for things like hostage extractions, which was my main use of that particular gadget upon release. I would smoke the entrance and then smoke the hostage themselves, and with his speed you were able to run in, grab the hostage and get out before they could see you. Unfortunately though, these situations don't often happen, and those situations certainly don't often pay off the way that you would hope for them to. His gadget is, as I say, very situational, and the fact that he no longer can lean on his rifle as a good alternative to the gadget makes him a fairly unviable operator compared to the other ones. If you take Capitão and compare him to one of his competitors, Ash, if you compare his gadget directly to hers, her gadget offers a lot of utility in the form of destruction and, if necessary, damage. Now you see what I did there. One of the advantages of the crossbow is that bolts will not be destroyed by the ADS. That's something that he has over Ash. Unfortunately, they don't do any form of destruction, which is what Ash offers. She offers the capability to breach walls from long distance, which, whilst not always useful, is particularly useful in situations where you need to get in somewhere and you need to get in fast, and you don't always have the time to pop in and do the job. So having that option there makes it just a little bit easier for the attacking side to get through certain obstacles, such as the castle shield traps, which can often completely shut down the momentum of an attacking team. Now what Capitão needs to get him back onto the stage that he was before is to essentially bring him back to day one and what he was before. Now, one of the big issues for Capitão was that they took away his frag grenades. Now, for a 3-speed operator to have frag grenades, we've seen in the past that this makes a big difference. IQ is an example of that. Whilst I still believe that she needs some work to become a truly viable operator, she became much more attractive after they gave her those 2 frag grenades in her pocket, because she becomes much more useful offensively with those frag grenades. Unfortunately, Capitão lost his. He donated them to IQ in one of the more recent nerfs to Capitão, which, accompanied with the assault rifle nerfs that increased his recoil and decreased his damage, it's just neutered him to a point where he really needs that damage back. And I think doing that, and possibly reducing the recoil, would be an instant boon to his pick rate. If you examine Capitão in a vacuum, with a strong assault rifle, with a reasonable gadget, albeit situational but fun to use, good for objective denial. This is a point I need to make regarding his gadget. It is essentially like the attacking team's version of Smoke's Babes, but with a bit more potency. So whilst the radius might not be as big as the toxic gas grenades that Smoke throws, the damage it deals is significantly higher. The tick rate is quicker, and the damage rate is slightly higher as well. So overall, with those 2 things combined, you can melt people very, very quickly with his gadget. And so all you need to do when you're securing an objective or capturing a bomb site, you just need to go in there, put down a couple of his bolts on the entrances, and then all of a sudden you've got this guaranteed denial that stops the enemy from getting into a room, or at the very least deals quite a significant amount of damage to them before they actually arrive into the objective. So having these 2 things, the better assault rifle and the better gadget, coupled with the fact that he also has 3 speed, if you look at that, objectively he becomes a much more viable operator once again. Ash's biggest selling point is probably her rifles. The R4C rifle has the highest damage of any assault rifle with that rate of fire, and that's why it's an absolute melt machine. And so bringing Capitão those things, getting him back to that level, could really be the difference maker in his pick rate and getting him back into the competitive game and just making him the op that he used to be. So Ubisoft, if you're listening guys, get his damage back, bring him back to what he used to be, and we can have some fun again. So I hope you guys agree with what I've said. Please let me know if you'd like to hear any more from me regarding how to fix operators and who to fix next. Next one is likely going to be IQ, so hope to hear from you guys soon. Do svidaniya guys. Bye bye.